Will might think it's UL, but it definitely isn't UL. It's Club de Aveyron of Switzerland up against Leander Club.
Quite far away from UL as you could get.
So this Swiss crew were actually national champions in Switzerland in 2018 in the pair. So we expect plenty of pedigree, but I can't say I'm that surprised to see Leander leading this one. When they enter a championship event, you generally tend to put them amongst the favourites, and they're bearing that out here. Really strong opening third from the girls from the Pink Palace. Just making their way down towards us. The Swiss crew getting very well acquainted with the booms on their Buckinghamshire station. Just correcting their steering and moving away a little bit. But Leander straight as an arrow. Perfectly positioned down the course, and they've got clear water.
Yeah, coming past our commentary position now, they've already got this clear water advantage at the barrier. Of course, they would have trained on this course for weeks in advance for this regatta. They've been here before even the booms were installed, so they'll know how to keep the perfect line all the way down this Henley course.
So on your screens at the moment, race 1, 3, 4. There we can see the the drone illuminating everything in perfect clarity for us, and Leander enjoying this quarter-final of the championship Coxless pairs. Some 3 lengths clear of the Swiss, who are very close to the booms indeed. That won't make any difference to the outcome of this race. In fact, it will just widen Leander's margin so we can move back to the start for race 135. Our second quarter final, Lee Rowing Club up against the Tideway Scullers School. Now, can the Scullers School crew take inspiration from the heroics that their Coxless 4 performed some minutes ago? It looks like they've certainly had the better of the opening strokes, leaving the shadows of Temple Island.
After that last Coxless 4 race, you can definitely see the distinctive Tideway Scullers rowing style has been transitioned into this pair as well. The Rowing Club slightly straying over in towards the middle of the course. Now they're moving back across, but Tideway Scullers definitely have the lead at this stage.
Yeah, this Scullers School combination placing second in women's championship pairs at the Met on Saturday, and were part of a 4 at Ghent, which placed 5th. Behind their other Coxless 4, which was 4th. So again, another representation of how strong the Tideway Scullers School women's senior squad is. And leading the Lee, who boat out of East London, row on the Lee.
And this combination of the pair placed 3rd in the women's championship pairs on the Sunday of the Metropolitan Regatta, I believe, Tom?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Interesting, then maybe they haven't come up against each other before. But at the moment, Scullers having the better of the opening exchanges. And you have to say at this stage, the drone there giving you sort of an idea of the distances between the two crews. Well, it's going to be tricky in a pair to overcome what is already clear water, and the crews haven't even reached the barrier yet. Little shout there from the stroke girl of the Lee crew. See if they can eat into the margin that Scullers have established. But at the moment, doesn't look like it's paying dividends too much. Scullers continuing to maintain a lead of some 2.5 lengths. So a reminder of what we've got next on the course, whilst we watch race 135 unfold in typically chronological order. Race 136 will follow, two more quarterfinals of the championship pairs. Imperial College Tideway Scholars Hall Composite up against Cambridge University Women's Boat Club is race 136, and 137 will see the Leander Club B crew match up against Durham University. I think actually that race 136 has left the state boats. There we go. It's almost like the producers listening. Imperial College Tideway Scholars School on the Berkshire Station, and Cambridge University Women's Boat Club, two girls who rowed in the blue boat, the winning blue boat, this year on the Buckinghamshire Station. Not much to choose between them at this stage. Pippa Whitaker and Patricia Smith. I think Patricia, actually, this is Patricia Smith. This is, I think she was her second, perhaps third winning boat race. So a bit of a lucky charm for the Light Blues. But at the moment, not having it all their own way at all. Imperial with Laura Volt of Tideway Scholars in the stroke seat, having the better of the opening exchanges. And certainly making full use of the Henley course in terms of steering. So Lara, of course, formerly of St Paul's Girls' School. I've just been reliably informed by Will Tyrrell that she goes to Princeton University in the United States. He's crossing his fingers, hoping he's got that right, in case of misidentity otherwise. But a prodigious athlete herself. She rowed for Tideway Scholars School last year at club level and produced some really strong results at the Women's Head and Henley Women's. I think she might actually have come away with a trophy here last year. So really strong athlete, and at the moment just about edging out Cambridge, but not by much.
You can just see on the bank here their coach Kieran Clark cycling right alongside this Imperial Scholars Composite, cheering them on all the way. So a very successful coach himself, coaching the under-23 quad and double to gold in these past 2 years.
I think he himself won Henley in 2013 with Tyrian Club, unless I'm much mistaken, which is the alumni for UL in the Y-Folds, up against Rob Roy. That was back in the day, 2013, 6 years ago. But at the moment, despite the strong start from the composite crew from Imperial and Scholars, not managing to really stretch any further away from Cambridge, which will give those girls in the light blue kit a bit of impetus, a bit of sort of motivation coming into the second, third of this quarter-final. You can see there on the top right-hand side of your screen, Scholars safely navigating their passage through, and they'll join Leander Club in the semi-finals of championship pairs. Hard to call this one at this stage, I have to say.
It does seem that the Cambridge crew aren't going to let Tideway Scholars and Imperial get away with the race easily here. Although Scholars do have this one-length advantage, seems that Cambridge was slowly eaten into that.
Yeah, poised quite finely, and Cambridge actually, I think you're right, Will, just stroke by stroke, inch by inch, coming back on the composite. So we will keep one eye on that. But race 137, the last of the quarterfinals underway. Leander Club B on the Berkshire Station and Durham on the Buckinghamshire Station. Some steering problems again there. I saw this Durham crew yesterday, really, really powerful crew. They row exceptionally well, as all Durham crews tend to. Just getting out nice and fast and leading this race at this stage. But actually, if you look on the top right-hand side of your screen, it looks like those two crews, Imperial Scholars Composite in Cambridge, are pretty much level. So is this going to be a perfectly judged race from Cambridge? We'll see.
It does seem that Cambridge have moved through this Scholars Imperial Composite now. After leading the whole race off the start, the Scholars crew are now slightly falling behind, and the Cambridge crew have made their move.
And of course, these Cambridge girls train all year round for a 7-kilometre contest as opposed to the traditional 2-kilometre format. So this Henley women's course, which is shortened to around about 1,500 metres, probably gives them the right platform to spring a mid-race surprise, and that's what they've done to Imperial and Scullers, who have led them all the way down the course, but Cambridge showing that maturity of a high intensity training program to row through a composite and sort of take the impetus in this race. Durham, Leander just passing our static commentary position at the barrier, and Durham having the better of the opening exchanges. They've got just about a length and a little bit of clear water over their opponents from Leander at this stage. So whilst we keep one eye on Durham and Leander on the bottom left-hand side of your screen, Cambridge winding it up. Trisha Smith and Pippa Whitaker. There we go. That's a really, really impressive second half from the light blues.
Oh, clear water there.
Well, it wasn't to be for Lara Volt this year and her colleague from Imperial. Cambridge progressing through and joining Tideway Scullers and Leander in the semi-finals of the championship pairs. It looks like at the moment Durham are favourites to complete the set, but as you pointed out, Will, Leander know this course well, probably know the perfect points to spring an attack, and staying in touch.
Definitely seems to be the case as we pass the enclosures here. I'd say maybe just less than half a length now to Durham. Leander have slowly eaten into this lead as we've had this drone shot pan over the crew and following the race.
I think we can see there though that Leander aren't quite letting Durham go. They're still pushing on, and I think there is room for Leander overtaking Durham, but I think it seems from what we've already looked at over the course that Durham are definitely one of the stronger crews and are set to power down this course.
Yeah, these Durham girls, plenty of domestic form, placing 4th in the pairs category at the Met, and were one half of an academic women's four which won gold, I understand, at Bucks Regatta. So a crew with plenty of pedigree, but Leander not letting them have it all their own way at all. This race has legs left to run. And it's good to see such competitive racing in these earlier stages of events. It means that we're in for some really, really good semi-finals and finals if the racing is this tight at the heat stage. Just watching those two crews make their way down the course, passing the 3/4 mile mark. Durham, I think, still edging this one, but not much to choose between them. I know that race 138 has left the state boats. We're moving cross categories here, back to the Aspirational Club Coxless Fours. Vesta on the Berkshire station and Putney Town Rowing Club on the Buckinghamshire station. But you can just see on your screens there the umpire warning Durham to stay on their lane. So we'll keep an eye on that. Durham and Leander reaching its conclusion. But you can see now Vesta and Putney Town making their way past Temple Island and on towards the quarter mile mark. Ooh, that looks to me like there's a bit of conversion in the steering.
Could be the case there that the stroke of the Putney Town crews all collided there with the bow of the Vesta crew, maybe slightly. But definitely Putney Town have the advantage at this stage as we see Durham there cross the line ahead of Leander.
Yep, Durham holding off the advances of Leander. Really good race actually. Repeated attacks fended off by Durham. They'll be delighted to secure passage through to the semi-finals. But here we can see Vesta having a few issues with their rudder. Looks to me like Putney Town have been pretty much straight as an arrow all the way down the course so far, and oh no, the umpire sees something that I haven't seen. She's warning Putney to move back across onto their station. Little to choose between them at this stage, perhaps half a length to Putney as they come past us.
As we watch them from our station position, both crews look extremely powerful. Neither of them tiring at this point in the race, which can be the toughest point actually, getting up to speed and then powering yourself down. But both crews very powerful, with Vesta just pushing up on Putney, closing that gap that they did have slightly.
Vesta looking a lot longer and a lot smoother, actually. I was just watching the stroke girl and the Vesta crew as they came past us, and she looks really relaxed. Head just absolutely nailed onto the stern of her boat, and just laying down a really, really nice rhythm, actually, for Putney, I think. For Vesta, sorry. I have to say, I think if I was a betting man at this stage, I'd actually put my money on Vesta, because I think their rhythm, their dynamic just looks a little smoother, and I think perhaps that's bearing out here. You can see Putney coming into the middle of the river. Vesta just rowing them down.
Definitely seems to be the case. Of course, both these boat clubs train on the tideway, so maybe they will have spotted each other during their training sessions out on the river.
There we go, no fear of the commentator's curse there. Vesta proving to have the mid-race legs at this stage, leading Putney Town, but race 139 now underway. Aspirational Club, Coxless Fours. We've got a Scottish composite on the Berkshire station. Aberdeen, Inverness and Loch Lomond Amateur Rowing Club up against Cantabrigian on the Buckinghamshire station. Cantabrigian, of course, hailing from Cambridge. Every single year they bring really, really good crews to the Royal and the Women's Regatta, although having a few issues with their steering at this stage. Having said that, I would probably say that the composite from Scotland have come across into the middle of the river somewhat. It gives us something to talk about, doesn't it? Every time these Coxless crews.
Coxless Fours definitely seem to be providing the majority of the entertainment so far in this racing period. We can see there in the top right as well, Vesta have now definitely moved through the crew from Putney Town and are now leading their race.
Yeah, really mature performance that from Vesta, actually. Look like they've got just that more dynamic rhythm in their boat, sort of a more length, more composure around each end of the stroke, and that's paid dividends for them as they come down towards the finish line. But this one, as it develops between the Scottish composite, Aberdeen Schools, Inverness and Loch Lomond Amateur Rowing Club and Cantabrigian, I think the composite from Scotland in their yellow Empacher shell have around a length as they come past us, which is a good opening period for them. I suppose if you put together a composite, you do it for a reason. You do it because you assume that the athletes that you're putting into that boat from the differing schools and clubs are going to produce a faster crew than you're capable of doing from your internal resources. So whenever I see a composite on the roster, I assume that there's going to be a bit of speed in that boat.
You can just see there the composite crew moving into the middle just to get the best water, meaning that the Cantabrigian crew are rowing in their wake, which will be slightly disheartening for them.
Yeah, Cantabrigian certainly will be looking to mount a second half charge, stroked by Olivia Hamilton, who was in the winning Cambridge lightweight blue boat in 2017, so she'll know a thing or two about charging for the line. Georgia Van, who's in the 3-seat, was in the Cantabrigian Club 8 that won here in 2017 and set a course record. So another lady who knows what it takes to win at Henley, but at the moment not having it all their own way, being led by the girls from Scotland as they make their way down the course. We'll have one eye on that, but race 140 has begun. Tyne Rowing Club on the Berkshire station and Mortlake Anglian and Alpha Boat Club on the Buckinghamshire station. Both crews again coming together as they leave Temple Island, and it looks like coming apart. Oh, that's a big crab. That's a big crab there from Mortlake.
You could just see there as they came onto the part of the course where the booms start to take place, that just the bow woman's oar just clattered with the first boom post there, and it seems now that Tyne are going to walk away with this one while the Mortlake crew sort themselves out. You can see that they've already started to enjoy a nice Saturday paddle.
Well, that's unfortunate. You know, we don't actually. No one likes to see that, because we come here for competitive racing. We come here for the best club rowers in the country and student rowers and international rowers, and sort of globally to pit themselves against each other. And steering is a part of that. But it is unfortunate to see crews collide with the booms and end competitions that or contests that look like they could be quite exciting to watch. But yeah, as you say, Will, Tyne now have the luxury of just paddling down the course some distance clear of their opponents from Mortlake. I don't think we'll be seeing a Tideway Scholar School style comeback here from Mortlake, which is a shame.
But we can see that Mortlake are still giving it everything. You can just see there in the bottom left the oars slowly coming into view from the Mortlake crew, so maybe the Tyne Rowing Club crew will have to pick up the pace again as the Mortlake crew get closer.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think they'll step off completely. They have to sort of make sure that they're still respectful to their opposition, and actually it's a good opportunity for them to sort of get a bit of experience down the course, get a bit of sort of work in the legs for the future rounds, because I think some of these girls will probably be racing again today. But we can see there the conclusion of race 139, Aberdeen School Inverness and Loch Lomond Amateur Rowing Club still leading Cantabrigian. And I think they've actually stretched out here several lengths clear now, and they can just probably ease off in the last couple of strokes and enjoy the end of their heat. So race 139 finishing up. So whilst we have a little bit of a gap in proceedings, you can see race 141 on the state boats. I'll give you some results. Race 134, first quarter final of the championship pairs was a win for Leander. Scholars School beat Lee in race 135. Cambridge University defeated Imperial College Scholars School by a length and a half, and 3 lengths to Durham against Leander in race 137. But race 141 now underway. Thames Rowing Club closest to your picture on the Berkshire station, and the City of Cambridge Rowing Club on the Buckinghamshire station. Thames Rowing Club, it would take a brave man to bet against the quality and pedigree that that club have. The City of Cambridge navigating the qualifiers for this event successfully. Getting a pretty good start actually as well. So Thames actually celebrating entering 43 women into this regatta this year, which is a fantastic achievement from them. And this crew looking like a pretty proficient unit. A crew from Cambridge, City of Cambridge, did win Club Coxless Fours at Wallingford this year. We're unsure as to whether or not this is a similar crew or just contains remnants of it. But at the moment, the form book being torn up because Thames, approaching the quarter mile, have the lead.
So you can see as the two crews begin to approach us from our position up here on the course, Thames are still in lead. Not quite got clear water yet, but it looks like they're heading towards that way. Looking at a strong crew as ever from Thames, pulling through. I think just they've gone past us, we can see clear water between themselves and Cambridge City. However, all's not lost for Cambridge City, I don't think yet. We've seen that proved in a few races today. All is still to play for. There's a long way down the course to go.
Yes, if you are just joining our live stream, it's 12:30, the Saturday afternoon now of Henley Women's Regatta. We're fairly much at the midpoint of racing for the weekend. It's a truly, truly stunning day here in Henley, seat of the Oxfordshire countryside. Rolling green hills and patchwork fields, and some phenomenal rowing coming down. Knockout format all the way through. We've got a full roster of racing right up until some point this evening. I think it's 7:30. A variety of categories on offer. And what you're looking at the moment is race 141, the 8th heat that we've had so far of the Aspirational Club Fours, and Thames Rowing Club enjoying the best of this one so far. the best of this one so far by some distance, actually. It looks like City of Cambridge have stopped rowing. Not quite sure what's happened there. Could have been a crab, but that went from about a length and a half to 11 lengths and a half in a matter of seconds. So I'm not quite sure what happened there in the City of Cambridge boat. Hopefully we'll get a bit of clarity on that. But Thames all but securing passage now through to the quarterfinals of the Aspirational Club 4s category in race 141. So we can move back to the start for race 142 Championship Coxless 4s. So a step up in pedigree here. Molesey Boat Club on the Berkshire station and the Oxford Brookes University on the Buckinghamshire station.
From that picture on the bottom left of the screen, it already seems that Oxford Brookes have been pulling ahead. Strong start there, extremely well known across the rowing community to be one of the strongest clubs out there. Huge intake of rowers every year, and they're trained up by some of the best coaches.
Yeah, you're not wrong, Izzy. It seems to be that I used to compete against quite a lot of the guys who are now at Brookes, and they were good junior rowers. I wouldn't go any further than that. They were good junior rowers, but they become exceptional student rowers at Brookes, and that is testament to the quality of the program that the guys have put in place there. They turn a batch of reasonably good athletes into Henley winning athletes in a variety of different categories. The Ladies Challenge Plate, the Temple Challenge Cup, and here we can see in a variety of categories, right across from Championship to Aspirational, Brookes putting out really strong crews and leading this Molesey crew, who I watched yesterday. They weren't a bad crew. They dismantled their opposition in the second half, so expect a bit of a surge from them. Yasmin Treadell on board, actually, formerly of the GB setup. So Molesey still staying in touch with Brookes at this stage. Will, you look like you've got something to say.
Yeah, of course, this Oxford Brookes crew is coached by Dan James, who used to be the head coach of the Cambridge University lightweight men's programme and led them to many successive victories in the lightweight boat race. Now he's come into this Oxford Brookes programme, and we can see the success of his coaching in this race here. Of course, Oxford Brookes leading Molesey now. But it does seem, though, that the Molesey crew are slowly eating into the lead that Oxford Brookes have built in this early part of the race as we go past the barrier.
Yeah, this one very much not over at all. Molesey staying in contention with Brookes, who strode out to probably this lead before the quarter mile mark, and they haven't really moved away since then, which will be a great psychological boost for Molesey. But it just now depends whether they've actually got the gas to go past them or whether they've used that or to just stay in touch. Just coming past what we call the enclosures here, which is around halfway down the course. So probably about 500 or so metres left to row for these two crews, and Brookes working hard to keep that 3/4 length margin, just keep Molesey at arm's length. It has to be said, two really, really exceptional Coxless 4s. As this regatta gets better and better every year, we see the quality of crew increase and the standard of rowing continue to get stronger. Brookes and Molesey, two examples of that. So what do Molesey now, I suppose that's the question, it begs the question, what do Molesey now have to do to overcome Brookes? Is it in the head, or is it just a case of smashing the legs?
I think it's a lot harder when you're in a Coxless boat because you don't necessarily have the cox dedicated to making the calls and doing the steering to get the crew motivated to make this push back through the Brookes crew. But of course, it being a Coxless 4, it's a lot easier to pick up speed and make that move in a shorter space of time than you would have with an 8 or a Cox 4 where the cox is in the slower moving boat.
Do you know what, Will? That was almost insightful. Well done. No, actually, it's a really good point. You think about the fact that in a Coxless quad, a Coxless 4, you've got to have someone in the boat who's designated to make the calls themselves. That used to be me in my crew, and that's a difficult thing because you're already pretty much out of breath. You know, you've been pounding the legs for 1,500 metres. The last thing you want to do is try and motivate your crew to lift the rate and lift the power. But as we watch Brooks make their way down, we'll keep an eye on that. Top right-hand side of your screen. Race 144 is underway. No, it's not. Race 143 is underway. Thames Rowing Club on the Berkshire Station and the University of London, UL, on the Buckinghamshire Station in the second quarter-final of Championship Coxless Falls.
And you can see there the Oxford Brooks crew crossing the line there. First place ahead of Molesey there.
Just see there UL making their way down the course, approaching the quarter-mile mark. Hard to tell who has the advantage. No, it's not, because the camera has just panned out. UL with around a length on Thames at this stage. So UL, bit of a race of attrition here, continuing to stride out ahead of Thames. So this crew actually took the win in Women's Championship Coxless Falls at an event this summer. Maybe the Met, maybe Bucks Regatta, but as they come past me, that is a really, really strong crew, it has to be said. They combine that almost intangible combination of pace and finesse. Loads of strength, loads of horsepower on board from conditioning all year round, but also the ability to just sweep the boat along with technical efficiency. So as we watch UL make their way down the course, race 143. It is lunchtime here in the commentary booth, so I've got a couple of rowers with me, so they're devouring everything in sight. So the commentary may come and go. But race 144 underway, the US Naval Academy of the United States of America on the Berkshire Station. A really strong crew that I saw race yesterday up against Leander Club on the Buckinghamshire Station. At the moment, crew from the USA, looking like they've got the better of the opening exchanges.
I think just the sheer number of crews from the USA in this year's competition is just showing how global Henley Women's is getting. I remember from commentating last year, there was a few of them. They were getting some of the strongest results, and I think there were a significant number of American finalists. But even this year, there's an even larger number coming overseas, which I think is just really bigging up the competition here and making it even better year on year.
Yeah, it pays great tribute to the work that's been done by the Henley Women's Regatta Organising Committee and globalising the event. Of course, they were the pioneer of the now famous drone, which Henley Royal used to such great effect. I think it's been here for 7 years now, the drone. So great to see that Henley Women's are at the forefront of rowing broadcast and bringing us some fantastic shots again this year of these crews battling it out on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. At the moment, Leander not having it all their own way at all. United States Naval Academy, loads of horsepower on board, big strong girls from the US, about 3/4 of a length over Leander at this stage.
Just watching them go past us then, they're extremely strong crews, really hitting down the power with their legs. I think possibly some of the fastest of those, the fours that we've seen today.
Top of your screen, just watching UL finish up their race ahead of Thames. I think they wound down a little bit towards the end there, UL, giving themselves a bit of breathing space for future rounds. But here, United States Naval Academy have just crept out a little bit more. I think they've opened up clear water now, not letting the rate drop at all, absolutely ticking it along. But that clear water will be so important for them, both physically and mentally. They can now just control proceedings a little bit more, dictate the narrative of the race, and watch and react to any move that Leander make.
Now, go ahead, Tom. Okay, as you can see there in the bottom left hand of your screen, we've started another race, number 145, between the University of Tulsa from the United States and Edinburgh University. And at this stage, coming out of Temple Island, approaching the quarter mile, it seems that Edinburgh definitely have the upper hand at this moment.
So two races on your screen at the moment, 144 and 145, as Will so eloquently put it. University of Tulsa of the United States of America on the Berkshire station coming down towards us, but being led at the moment by Edinburgh University on the Buckinghamshire station. Obviously Edinburgh, one of the foremost student boat clubs in the country, consistently not only produce crews to compete here but win here, which is testament to the strength of their programme, and they are leading Tulsa at the moment by clear water as they come past the barrier.
I think the Edinburgh coaches will be much happier with this race, given how it's going with Edinburgh in the lead compared to the slight disaster of a race which didn't actually happen with the 8s earlier. So it's good to see Edinburgh racing down the track today.
Just see at the top of your screen, United States Naval College, getting intimately familiar with the booms, but not in a way that should affect the result or the outcome of their race. I think they did beat Leander, which is a really strong result from them. Leander, of course, always producing very, very good crews, so they've been knocked out in the quarterfinals, which is a bit of a shock. So keep your eyes on US Naval Academy moving forward in this event. At the moment, Edinburgh not allowing any more US opposition to have it their own way. They now have nearly 3 lengths on Tulsa of the United States of America. To be fair, this Edinburgh crew actually national champions in Scotland. Took the win in the Women's Senior Championship Coxless 4 category in a time of 7 minutes and 28 seconds. Tulsa there just zigzagging a little bit, which won't help them at all. And Edinburgh just relaxing into their Saturday afternoon race. See there the intensity just coming off a little bit, just a tad. There seems to be